Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Bob Miller with another edition of the Practice Gratitude Success Show, and where we every day we focus on gratitude. We start the show off with focusing on what we're grateful for, who we're grateful for, and then we get into wherever we're going to go to. And luckily, I've been fortunate to bring in a lot of really cool guests here today. I've got somebody who's real close to me, a friend of mine that I've known for really not a real long time, but we got real close a couple of years ago through the whole My Lead System Pro community sort of a thing. And so he lives not too far away from me. He lives down in Mexico, right on the beach, right on the ocean. You've probably seen his videos. Every morning he does a little coffee with Len video where he holds up his coffee like this and goes on and he talks for about 2 minutes and things like that. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Len Mooney here. Let me white box you, Len, so people can see you. And there's Len Mooney. I say, Len, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on here this morning. I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you for having me, Bob. And by the way, anybody have a cup of coffee? Good morning. It's a beautiful day here on the ocean.
Now, Len, I'm pretty sure most people here can see, has probably seen his videos. But what Len does every single morning, he does a video on his deck, and he's got the ocean right behind him. I've been to his house before. He's going to show us right now. Len's going to show us. I know that. I've been to his house. I've actually walked down to the ocean. It's pretty cool. It's pretty inspiring to see that. Yeah, I actually walked right down and shot some videos. Oh, there's people walking out there, Len, behind your house.
There's people out there.
Hope they're not.
That tiny little piece of land right there is actually federal property. There's actually I think it's 50 feet or 20 feet or something of federal property there where the house ends and the ocean begins. So it's open to the public.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
That's my $1 million view.
It is $1 million view. It's an amazing view. It's really pretty cool. I love being there. It's such a peaceful place, a community where you live in right there. It's nice. Now, Len, I asked some people before. I said, okay, so we have Len Mooney on here today. Because you come up, you do your little coffee with Len videos. I know you have a lunch with Len on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I know a lot about you because you've been in my house a lot. We do things together, and I'm going to share some things a little bit later on today. But some people, the questions I receive, I want to know who is Len. I want to know about his family. I want to know a little bit more about you. So can you tell us in a short period of time about who is Len Mooney?
That's a very broad question, Bob.
It is.
So I saw one of the questions was about my family.
Right.
Let me try something here and see if it'll work out. I'm going to actually do a screen share for just a moment.
Okay.
So if I do a screen share, can you see my screen?
I'm seeing me right now.
Let's see. How do I get? See, I've never been on as a guest before. Now, can you see my screen?
It's like 1,000 screens.
Right. That's what it should be right now. Okay. So you can see my screen.
Okay, there you go. There's pictures.
So there's pictures. So okay. This is sorry, I have thumbnails right now. This is my daughter.
Okay.
I actually have 2 biological children, but I'm going to tell you that I have 3 children, and I'll explain that in a moment. This is my daughter. She is biologically related to me. I was in the hospital when she was born, and she has several children of her own. This young man is her son, so he's my grandson. This is Nick, and that is Nick's girlfriend. And I've got you beat, Bob. See, I am a great grandfather now.
Wow!
So that is my great grandson.
Wow!
And I'm going to put a picture up here of, again, hard to see. I realize it's a small picture, right. But this is my daughter, Pam, and her husband and her 3 children. Pam is a chiropractor up in Livermore. She's got her own chiropractic practice, and her husband is a contractor, a very successful one. He does very high-end remodels. You and I can't afford him. At least I can't. And then finally, I'm just going to give you one more picture. This is my baby elephant. That's Barsalinga. And I went about a year ago, about a year and a half ago. I'm going to stop the share. About a year and a half ago, I adopted Barsalinga. He's over in the David Sheldrick Wildlife Foundation in Africa, near Nairobi, or Kenya, rather. And somebody asked about passions. I have several passions. One of my passions is protecting animals. And one of the animals that I'm very passionate about protecting is elephants. And I'm just going to take about a 30-second soundbite here. We're within 10 years of seeing the last elephant on the face of the planet. And the reason for that is poaching. The elephants are being destroyed. I forget the numbers off the top of my head, but the size of the herd is down from well over 1 million animals to, I don't remember what the number is right now, but it's decreasing rapidly. And at the rate that elephants are being slaughtered, we will have no elephants left on the planet in 10 years. Not zero. The last elephant will be in a zoo somewhere. And so protecting wildlife, I've also recently adopted a gorilla in the mountain gorillas in Africa, Virunga National Park. Protecting wildlife that can't protect itself. I'm involved in Project Aware, which is oceans, taking care of the oceans. I don't know how many people realize how close we are to just absolute total destruction of the ocean environment. Less than 10% of the large fish are left alive. And the other is wolves up in the Yellowstone region and Idaho and Montana. I absolutely love wolves. I think they're magnificent creatures. And I'm active in trying to protect wolves. So those are some of the things. Now, I'll shut up in 30 seconds. One of my other passions is also taking care of children. Clean water projects in villages where children have to walk 5 miles a day, carrying 5-gallon buckets to bring home dirty water, and helping build wells, and also food, the World Food Program, trying to help feed people. So those are some of the things that I'm passionate about.
Right, and we talked about that a lot because, as I mentioned before, Len stays here a lot. And when he comes up to visit, when he has business up in San Diego, he'll actually come and stay here with me. And he was sleeping in his van because he's got a really nice, what do you call it, a camper van? What do you call that van?
Oh, it's just a van. I don't call it. I mean, I don't know what to call it. It's not really a camper van. It's
a big van. It's got like the top thing on. So it's a big thing. My dogs love it. And my dogs they love Len more than they love me. When Len comes here, they want to hang out inside his van. Toby, the wonder dog, and Charlie, they love when Len comes. But we do a lot of cool things together. But one thing that I share with you that I think made you feel good too was the book Abundance by David Diamandis.
That's a phenomenal book.
Good, but the book talks about, because we always focus on the bad things that's happening in the world, like all these terrible things like Len just mentioned right here, which he didn't mention as being terrible. He just said he wants to protect them. But this book with I think it's David Diamandis. Maybe I get the last name or the first name wrong, but it talks about the possibilities that we have in front of us. How like creating your own gardens, even in cities like New York City and places like that, rooftop gardens, and the things we have available to us, cell phones, the technology that's available to us. There's so much good that we have right now that's available to us. So if we focus on those things, the things we can do, and not on the things we can't do, and I think that made a big impact on you. That book did, I think.
Oh, it did. The book is very encouraging because it paints a picture of positivity going forward. The reality is that we are bombarded so much, and you've heard me say this many times. I mean, my biggest piece of advice I can give to people is shut off the television, throw away the newspaper. There is no value. But the biggest problem is we're bombarded continuously by what's wrong with the world, and we never see what's right with the world. The planet is making progress. The human race is making progress, albeit sometimes painfully slow. It is making progress. But sadly, sadly, we are still very close to a tipping point on the planet. And if people don't pay attention to all these little things, the planet's going to tip, and it's going to be downhill. We have a ways to go to save the planet. And actually, the question is not whether we can save the planet. The question is whether or not we can save the human race, because the planet will persist. Nature is not going to lose this battle.
No, exactly. No, we could all be gone. We could all be gone, but the plant, it'll grow. Everything will come back. Everything will still be here when we're gone. Trust me, it'll all be weeds and everything will, we're like a bunch of fleas that'll just shake us off.
Yep.
But
we're no match for nature.
No.
Nature's going to win this one.
No, yeah, the planet's not going to die. We will die, but hundreds of years or millions of years after we're gone, that will still be here. It'll still be spinning, it'll clean itself out and all that kind of stuff. But it's our responsibility to take care of what we have right now for our children, for everybody that's coming behind us. Yes, so that's cool. Now speaking about that, we recently, this past year, summertime, Len and I, we actually went down to the cliffs here in San Diego, Sunset Cliffs, and we jumped off the cliff. It was pretty quiet. I put video of Len and myself on there. It was really pretty interesting. And the reason I mentioned that, well, first of all, because it was really cool. But I was coming back from Fiesta Island this morning, and I had the radio on. I listen to music, and when the news comes on, I usually turn it off. When the commercials come on, I turn it off. But the news came on, and it talked a little bit about Sunset Cliffs where we were. And there's a big split there now. There's a big giant part of the cliff is ready to fall in. I'm going to go there later on today and shoot a video.
Cool.
And I'll post it.
If I were out there, I'd go with you.
When are you going to come up here next?
Real soon. Probably within about a week or week and a half or so.
Okay, but I won't wait for you. I'm going to go down there today before because
don't wait for me.
I want to be there and get it before it falls.
Yeah. But as soon as we get back and get into the nicer weather, I'm all game for another jump off the cliff.
If that place is still there, yeah. I mean, it'll still be there in some form. Cindy said she wants to jump.
Come on up, Cindy. Where does Cindy live? Cindy
lives in Texas.
Well, it's a long drive, but
But it's a short airplane ride, though.
That's true.
It's the jump wasn't bad. Now Len did it first, and then he was actually told me when he was climbing, he was, Bob, I don't know if you can do this. The reason why, because my left hand is still like really pretty weak, so climbing off the rocks can be difficult if you don't have all of your limbs. So that was kind of a challenge, but it was a challenge for both of us. But it was worth it. It was definitely worth it.
Well, it's one of those things that reminds us that we're not 18 years old anymore.
Right.
The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
And most of the people were there probably teens or early 20s.
Oh, I mean, you didn't see anybody our age jumping off that cliff.
No,
we're the only crazies.
No, but that was definitely worth it. It was definitely a lot of fun. Definitely.
I do it again.
So Len, I want to touch base just a little bit, and we've been doing, and this actually really changed me a real lot. We've been doing a 90-day wealth building Mastermind Plus program, you and I together, and we started this November the 1st. And every day we post something in the video in the room, and we take turns. I make a video, then you make one, and how has that helped you? Has that made an impact on your life doing it, and why?
Well, yeah, it has absolutely helped me. First off, Bob, there's an old saying that the way to learn something is to teach it. And the reality is, by putting this up there and putting it in front of the people and making the videos every day and doing the webinars we've done, it has helped me drive home and clarify in my own mind some of the concepts and the thinking, and to keep myself on the daily method of operation, on track of doing these things on a daily basis that are so essential to our success. I don't think people realize sometimes how important it is to do this stuff every day, the consistency.
Right.
You know, the two keys to success: persistent, consistent. Without those two, nothing happens, nothing changes.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree, Len. And I mean, I know your daily method of operation. When Len is here, he's up at like at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I am too, but that's why I know he's up at 3 o'clock in the morning, because I am. But when you wake up early, then you start doing things. You start doing things. Even if it's meditating, it doesn't really matter, right, Len? I mean, do it every single day. That's the important thing, is the consistency, like you said.
Right. Well, I'm a big believer. I'll put out an ad there for Hal Elrod's book, The Miracle Morning, and there are several flavors of that book now, but I only have the vanilla flavor, the original one. I'll put out an ad for that. I mean, it's a phenomenal book, and it's an absolutely essential piece of my life. And not to contradict you, Bob, but I actually get up at 4 o'clock. But
all right, I get up and make the coffee.
If I get up at 3, it's because I have to go to the bathroom. But that early morning routine, I read every morning. I do some meditation. I do some journaling. That early morning routine is, and intending your day is, to me, is critical.
And that's what we've been doing in this program, because we talk about what do we do first thing in the morning. Now, whether everybody does it or not, it's up to them. But we talk about certain methods of operation, and we talk about being grateful and setting your intentions for the day and things like that.
Yeah, Priscilla says she's got the original one too. It's great.
I've got one of them. I don't know which one it is, but I've got one of the flavors of it.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The point is to intend your day. And I remember when I was back in the corporate world, and I woke up in the morning and generally woke up in pure panic and negativity. It was all the crap that was going on and things you had to deal with. And, I'm so glad that part of my life is behind me. This is a far better way to wake up and intend your day and get started and be on a positive. I mean, you set your day off on a positive note. And then, of course, as we've taught in the webinars we've done, is the anchoring behavior. And I anchor. I am happy. I anchor so many times a day that.
Now you do that on your videos. You end it like that. You say, "I intend to have a good day," like that, right?
Yep. I intend to be happy today. I hope you do too. It's a choice. You get to make it every day.
Tell us a little bit about anchoring. What is that?
Well, anchoring is the 30-second version. Is find a peak experience in your life, something that was really an emotional high for you, a huge emotional high, and then associate a very small behavior like rubbing your fingers together or tapping your forehead or putting a lock of hair behind your ear, or Larry Hoffman likes to twist to the left. Whatever it is, you associate a behavior, and anytime, and what you do is you train yourself by repetition, so that anytime you do that behavior, you bring yourself back into that peak state. So one of my peak experiences has to do, for many people, it has to do with the birth of a child or a wedding or something. For me, actually, one of my peak experiences is there's been times when I've been skiing, for example, that I was on such an incredible emotional high that I could anchor that, I could bring it back to me. Or I remember once when I was a child riding a roller coaster with my mother. It was a really peak experience for me, and I can just bring the experience back as if it were happening right now. I can put myself in that place. And so if you're in a funk, just anchor it, bring it, come on back.
That's very powerful. I remember. Well, Tony Robbins always talked about that, and I also went to the same program with when Larry Hoffman talked about it, and he took it to another level. He said to do that about 25 times a day.
Well, that's only in the beginning. You only have to do that in the beginning so that you train yourself to anchor, to associate the behavior.
Right.
Well, his recommendation was to do it for the first month, to do it 25 times a day until the association is so ingrained that anytime you do it, you just pop back into that state.
then it becomes a habit. It's like
Yeah.
everything. That's why, like, the importance of this 90-day program. Because if you do anything for 90 days, if you hate your neighbor for 90 days, you're gonna really hate your neighbor. So you might as well do something that's gonna be move you forward instead of making you be negative. If you watch TV every day for 90 years, you gotta have a TV mind, like you said earlier. Don't turn that off.
In my opinion, that's why so many people that we know, and I don't know that we know them. I shouldn't say people we know, because most of the people we know don't do this.
Right.
The people out there's so much negativity in the society, and that's why. I mean, people come home from television or from work, they plop down on the couch, open a beer, and turn on CSI. My God, no wonder they're negative about their world. They're immersed in serial murder.
I did. I used to do it. I used to have like 3 jobs. I would work so hard, then I'd come home at night and I would want to watch news. I used to watch news before I went to bed at night. I would watch news.
Well, that's a prescription for keeping yourself awake over for the night.
And I wake up in the morning and watch news again. What happened during the night?
You wonder why you felt bad.
Yeah, no wonder why my brain blew up and I had a massive stroke. What was I focusing on? Yeah, the heck with that stuff. Len.
Well, as you know, I practice what I preach. My television here is connected to my DVD player. Period. It's not connected. I don't have a cable. I don't have an antenna. I don't have television. Unfortunately, we get enough negativity on Facebook these days to take care of everything else. So we don't need TVs and radios or newspapers.
Yeah, look on the right-hand side of you, and you'll see the stories over there.
Yeah.
It's in your face. Yeah, you don't have to watch the news or to read the newspaper to get that stuff. It's going to be there. But so how important is it, Len, to pour into yourself, to pour in all these and do personal development? How important is that to you?
Well, it's really quite elementary. Do you want your life to change, or do you want it to stay the same? What do you want? If you want your life to change, you've got no choice. You got to change, and the only way you can change is to pour into yourself. And I think it's absolutely critical to do this stuff every day. Critical. Nothing will change if you don't change.
What do you say to people who say, "Oh yeah, I've already done that. Like I read those books years ago. I lived that sort of life, and I'm good. I've done that." What do you say to those kind of people?
I don't say anything. Those people, someone who says that is so closed that they're lost. It's just, Diane Hoffman says, and I sort of quote her here. Maybe I'll misquote her. I don't know. She says, "Just love them for what they are. Let them go." Because they're beyond saving.
Yeah, it's like saying I went to the gym once and worked out.
Well, I told you the story of my foster father, for example. My mother was remarried when I was 5 years old, and when I was a teenager, he used to tell me that he didn't read books anymore because when he was a teenager, he read every book in the library. So he'd read everything there was to read. There was nothing left.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Got
what
it all.
can I say?
Yep. I went to the gym and worked out one time. I'm good.
Yeah.
Jackson says, "TV, take away your vision." Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Hey, do we have any questions over the side? Did anybody want to know anything about Len? Well, where'd you grow up, Len? Did you grow up in Pennsylvania?
Well, yeah, I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I refuse to admit to growing up, but I left Pittsburgh behind when I was 23 years old. Was hired by Lawrence Radiation Lab. It was then called Lawrence Radiation Laboratory. It's now called Lawrence Livermore Laboratory in Livermore, California. So I came out here to California for what I thought would be 2 to 3 years. And 40 years later, I've never looked back. So that's it. Born and raised in Pittsburgh.
You have lenmooney.com. That's your website. Now you also do, besides your morning videos, which you do every single morning, you never miss a day, even when you were sick, even when you had your bad hip and things like that. But you also do a lunch with Len as well, right? Tell us about your lunch with Len shows.
Well, I do it it's like your show right here. I do lunch with Len only. I do it 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday, and it's a free coaching, mentoring, lots of different things program. And today, for example, we have Bill Moore coming on. Bill has been using a piece of software called tweet jukebox to automate posting tweets on Twitter. And Twitter's, for those of us who are in the marketing space, Twitter's become a pretty powerful piece of a resource to use. And so Bill's going to review what he's doing with Tweet Jukebox. And then Thursday this week, I have Clive Jeffries coming on.
Okay.
And, Clive is having an amazing amount of success with Facebook, and want to hear about that. And then next week, your buddy Mycle is going to be on Tuesday. Mycle,
Brandy.
Yeah, Mycle. Yeah, and my objective there is to help Mycle. Maybe we get a few more letters written to Ellen to help build the momentum of that program. So lunch with Len. The other thing that people don't know about me, and I might have mentioned, and I see we're close on time, so I'm aware of it. I was a single parent for 14 years. I had my kids living with me for 14 years. And I actually have a whole series of books. I wrote a series called Adventures in Single Parenting. And I actually have a single parenting website. It's singleparenting.us. It's not .com. It's .us. .com was taken. Couldn't get it. So singleparenting.us. And again, there's a whole series of books out there. There's Adventures in Single Parenting. And it's a series. There's 5 books in the series. And if I may say so myself, the flagship book, Adventures in Single Parenting, is actually a very good book. It's well done.
Pretty cool. Hey, before we run out of time, Jackson wants to know, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for so many things. I just showed you a view out my window. I am so grateful for my view, for my health, for my family, my friends, for people like you and Jackson and all the people around me, for the support we get, for the MLSP community. I'm grateful for my skis, my hip, my brand new hip. My hip is the youngest part of my body. It's less than a year old now. You know what my hip was like before the surgery. And you also know what I went through, but we won't bother with that. The end result is the hip is awesome now, and I'm so happy to be back walking again. And I'll be back up on my snow skis, and I just signed up to lead a water ski trip in April, so I will lead the trip. So what have I left out, Jackson? I don't know.
Did he say anything? No, he didn't ask that. Did
I'm
he?
grateful to be alive. Grateful for another day.
Yeah, and I'm great, and I'm grateful for you, Len. I'm grateful for the friendship that we forged, and we haven't really known each other. A lot of people say they because they see us together. We do a lot of, when you come up here, we do a lot of videos together. We do a lot of things at Fiesta Island, and so people think that we know each other for like 30 years, but it's only been like about a year and a half or so. And Nicole Harris wants to know, she said, what is freedom to you, and what makes you feel more free every day? If you can answer those before we run out of time. We only have like 2 minutes left.
Freedom to me is basically the ability to do what I want, when I want, with whom I want, and to go where I want to go. And I mentioned things like scuba diving, snow skiing. I didn't mention scuba diving. I'm a master scuba diver. For those of you who aren't familiar with scuba diving, master diver is the highest non-professional diving certificate that you can hold. There is nothing above it. And freedom to me is the ability to live my life the way I want. And I want to mix in with that, because it's not just about me. It's also having the ability and the resources to help with all of the things that I mentioned before. Project Aware for the oceans, the elephants, the wolves. Again, I'm going to make a plea for the elephants and the wolves because they're so severely endangered. And the mountain gorillas, there's less than 800 of them left in the world. We're going to lose that species. And it's just, extinction is forever. Even though Jurassic Park would lead us to believe that there are other possibilities, extinction is basically forever.
Right. Well, Len, thank you so much for being here, but we are out of time right now. I know people have a lot of things they have to go to at the top of this hour here. So they can find you, go to lenmooney.com is probably the best way to find you, or just look you up on Facebook, right?
Yeah, Facebook, or lenmooney.com.
Okay.
That's it.
Great.
Thanks
Great.
for having me, Bob.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and just everybody go out there and have yourself a great day, and be grateful for somebody, be grateful for something. That's the message that I want to get out here during this show here is, if you start from gratitude, if you come from that place of gratitude and love, then everything else kind of falls in place. Wouldn't you agree, Len? Seriously?
Absolutely.
Okay, guys, well, have yourself a great day, and so we'll talk to you all soon. And tomorrow, Priscilla McMillan is going to be on. She's a reverend, a woman of God. So if you don't believe in God, don't bother coming, or maybe you should come. Maybe more importantly. All righty, guys, we'll talk to you later. Then, bye, everybody.
All right.